Welcome everyone to the JDCA's which 270th Meet the Artist. And here is the founder chairman, the person who dreamt and is realizing this dream. And this is one of the activities that we've been doing for many years. So, Baba, would you like to talk about JDCA first?
I'm sitting on a comfortable chair as a chairman. We are having Purnima Rai. Purnima Rai is a dear friend, and she and Madhavi and another friend of hers, three of them studied at the School of Planning and Architecture in Delhi. They're all the three from different parts of India, and all the three have been close friends all along. And three of them are involved in different forms of visual art. And I'm very happy, when it's like Sudhir Kakkad was an engineer, went to psychology, and then became an author. So it's fantastic that all of you are architects, somebody gone to dancing, you into craft, etc. And it's very unfortunate in the modern times, art and architecture is separate, but it's inseparable like coffee and sugar. Now, Purnima Rai lives in New Delhi. She has been very quietly working for so many years. And she was the first one who stored my hand fan collection 40 years ago
Wow.
in her storeroom.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, to return back to JD Center of Art, it's a stupidity and indulgence that because of my collection of antiquity and craft and handloom and many other things that I've done over the 60 years, which I've donated to the JD Center of Art. Hence, it is what they call dumping of baggage. And it's very kind of the government of Orissa to provide the land, and government of India funded the building, and designed by eminent architect B.V. Doshi. Unfortunately, my dear friend is no more. And the building is ready, the interior is being done. Siddharth, my son, who is looking after the center at the moment, and he's from NID, so he's looking into display and design and many other things. And the collection is already in Bhubaneswar. MTA, as we call it in the short form, Meet Artist program, which includes traditional and contemporary art, and mainly visual art though, but traditional and contemporary under one roof. And we used to do it in-house in Bhubaneswar at the JDC office. And since COVID, it's online for last few years. Very good in a way because it's become international. Many people are attending and listening and participating in it. So, and we have a film forum where we show every year National Documentary Film Festival. We have had 13, stopped because of COVID. It will resume again. So that's how it is. And it's opposite Khandagiri Caves, 2,200-year-old caves. Opposite that is the JD Center of Art. So this is how it is, and it's very strenuous. It's very cumbersome to do the center. We're having indulged. Unfortunately, Siddharth has taken it on his shoulder, and so now we have Purnima Rai. Purnima Rai, I'm very happy that I requested and she had agreed, and she did architecture, but followed, as I said, it's extraordinary if you've done one visual art and indulge into another. The inspiration is much more. So I'm also a member of the Craft Council of India, a life member, and Purnima and her colleagues are quietly doing a lot of things in Delhi. Now, Purnima Rai, please.
Siddharth, I think we'll give a
Yeah.
more full introduction so that more people get to know
Yeah.
what she has quietly been up to.
So I haven't known Purnima as long as my father has, but I think I'm equally fond of her as him. But I learned a lot about you, Purnima, through this whole kind of interaction. She was a graduate from the School of Planning and Architecture, New Delhi. And after a few years of working on architectural projects, she joined the Delhi Crafts Council, a voluntary non-governmental organization working for the development of traditional crafts. Since 1986, when she joined the council, she has worked on multi-dimensional aspects related to crafts, which include exhibitions, design projects, documentation, and workshops. In 1996, she worked independently on putting up an exhibition of Indian crafts in Brazil. She has designed and helped publish Vinu Bharti, a comprehensive volume on the bamboo works written by late Sri Vinu Kale. I am a proud owner of the book. She is a former president of Delhi Crafts Council and continues to be closely involved with the council's activities. As the head of the organizing committee for the Golden Jubilee celebrations at Delhi Craft Council in 2017-18, she was responsible for curating a series of special exhibitions, including one on Kamla Devi Chattopadhyay. She's also helped set up Kamla, a crafts outlet of Crafts Council of India in New Delhi, and is an active member of its managing committee. I've had the pleasure of working Purnima, I think about 15 years ago, working on an exhibition for Craft Council of India. And we've done multiple livelihood programs with stone artisans across different states. So it's lovely having you here, Purnima, and thank you and welcome. Over to you.
Thank you, Siddharth. And thank you, Jatin. Thank you, Nandita. And hello, everybody. So, shall we start at the beginning? Siddharth?
Yeah. I'll just share my screen.
Yeah.
With the presentation.
So, I was born in Kozhikode in Kerala. This is my maternal grandmother's house, and that is my grandfather standing there. So while I've never actually lived for long periods or for long period at all in Kerala, I was always in Delhi. My parents were in Delhi. Somehow, you know, my parents were keen, and in Delhi at that time, the Kerala school has started. So I started, they put me there, and I learned Malayalam. I learned how to read and write. Of course, it's a bit rusty now, but yes, I have a very strong connection to Kerala. And then moving on to my school years and pre-college years, I was very fond of sketching. I was very fond of poetry. I was fond of English literature, music. So this is a self-portrait, me, it says, many, many years ago. Next, please. Siddharth. Next slide. Yes, this is a sketch of my husband, Lakshman, and it's made in 1980. So at the time, we were just 16 when we were to join college. So it was a real big toss-up. I wanted to do everything. I wanted to do English literature. I wanted to do arts. And then I wanted to go to NID to study design, because actually that was an interest. But somehow it didn't happen. And my sister was doing architecture, and I found that very fascinating. So I joined the College of Architecture, School of Planning and Architecture in Delhi. At the time, we were a very snooty lot, and, you know, sort of quite anglicized, wore skirts, and, you know, and we were sort of fond of the Beatles, we were fond of Simon and Garfunkel, read a lot of English literature. And it was really a very fortunate thing that happened, that in architecture college, in the same class as me, was Madhavi Mutkar. Siddharth. So that was a new thing for me. Absolutely, it changed my outlook, because Madhavi's father, Bhaiji, Pandit Vinay Chandra Moudgalya, was the head of Gandharva Mahavidyalaya, which was a school of classical music and dance. And along with Madhavi, I used to go to Vidyalaya, and Bhaiji was a very charismatic person. And he had, you know, the ability to sort of include everybody in what he was doing. He was So soon I started learning vocal music, and he put me in the choir. And in the choir, there were about 30 of us. And they all came from different backgrounds. And we all used to travel together to different parts of India. So that was a huge learning experience for me and opened up my outlook completely after that. So my interest changed. And while doing architecture, I started learning classical vocal music. I was in the choir, and I met my husband, got married. And so my husband was also interested in music, and he had learned the flute from Devendra Murdeshwarji. And this is Murdeshwarji playing in our house. And I'm playing the tanpura at the back. So we were very interested, and it was really fortunate that, we had a very sort of eminent Guruji. Both of us started learning from Vasant Thakaji. He used to come home, and it was really like old times. He would come in the morning and sit for hours and tell us stories. And it was a very wonderful time, because by then I had given up practicing architecture, and I was taking a kind of a sabbatical, because I realized that I knew so little about our own culture. And so I was very keen to do something else. So we were very influenced. And we used to go to all the programs and everything. And we were extremely, deeply, profoundly affected by Kumarji's music. And we were blessed that he gave many programs in our house. This is one of them. That is Madhavi at the back. This is in our house, and that is Kalapini, his daughter. And he gave from 1981 to 1991, he gave about 8 programs. I mean, I cannot describe what it is to hear a musician of his caliber, to hear him live. I mean, it's something, Western classical music is different. But when a musician is creative, there is a link when you're listening to him being creative at that moment. When you hear, so it's something really magical. Anyway, we were extremely lucky. And my next one. Siddharth, next. So after every program, my father-in-law was a very, very wonderful personality. And this is a photograph of Kumarji after a program, having a discussion with my father-in-law, Ranjit Rai. And after that, we would all have dinner. It was really wonderful. And my in-laws' house, I used to live in the joint family. We were a very open house. And we used to, all sorts of musicians, and everybody used to come. And I remember Jatin used to come also many times. And it was really a wonderful time. And so now at this time, when I was looking for something to do, there was a lady called Mrs. Swatantrata Prakash. She was called Gogo Auntie for some reason, I don't know. But she was also interested in classical music, and she was also the president of Craft Council, Delhi Crafts Council. So I sort of got in touch with her, and I was very keen to do something. So that was how I got into Craft Council. But now I want to talk about a program that we did independently. Meaning it was a program in Brazil, wonderful program. It was Madhavi's dance, Madhup Mudgal, her brother's vocal music, and an exhibition of Indian crafts, Chandni Chowk Ki Gali, by my friend Raka Chakravarti, who's an architect, who's actually an architect who's still practicing, and myself. And we put up this exhibition in Brazil. It was a fantastic experience, because you can imagine that every single thing had to go from here. Every single piece of craft had to go from here to be authentic and replicated there. Siddharth, can we do the next few slides? Yeah. So this was how it was put up. The Brazilian end was fabulous. They followed all the drawings to the T. Everything was perfectly and efficiently organized. And next, please. Yeah, so this is all, you can see the Sikhi, the Tilonia birds, There is a cycle with goggles and everything. Next, please. Yeah, you can just, Siddharth, just go through the slides, please. Yeah. This was a Pan Wale ka stall. Then there was a Juti Wala. There was a bangle stall. Next. This is the Jutis. This was a Mehndi Wala. We couldn't take a Mehndi Wala, but we had the drawings on the wall. Tie and dye and a Fulkari. Okay, now I come to the Delhi Craft Council. I joined Delhi Craft Council in 1986. I did meet Kamala Devi ji, but very briefly, and it was unfortunately towards the end of her life. So I don't really know her very well. But when we did a research work, she had set up Craft Council of India first in Delhi in 1964. Then she set up Delhi Craft Council in 1967. And this is her signature in one of the meeting minutes of the meeting. And next, please. So when we were celebrating the 50 years in 2017, we realized that, a lot of this, there's not very much, in spite of her doing such a lot of work and being such an extraordinary person, there's very little known about her. So before this, Devaki Jain had done an exhibition in the India International Center, for which about 2 years of research work was done, and many sort of new photographs, old new photographs were discovered about her, and research was done. There was Dr. Aparna Basu also who handled it. And so we collated all the material and we began our 50-year celebration with this exhibition on Kamala Devi ji. Next, please. So this was the exhibition that was held at Sanskriti. And next, please. It had photographs people had never seen before. Next. Then we repeated the exhibition at the end of our 50-year celebration, and that was at the India International Center. This is the poster for it. It was inaugurated by Ruby Pal Chaudhary. This is a view of it. Okay, now at this point, I just want to say that it strikes me as being quite extraordinary that the things that I'm really passionate about and really care for and I'm deeply interested in somehow, have woven themselves together in my life. I mean, like I start with architecture, design, then I go into classical music, and through music, I get into craft. So I also feel that even today, these are the deeper strands which still sort of are of interest and they're alive in my life. So Delhi Craft Council has done many, many, many projects. So it's impossible for me to talk about all of them, but I will just take up a few which are sort of very close to my heart. So the first one is the Chick project, which we took up in 1999. And the first exhibition was held at the Annex gallery downstairs. And these are the 4 craftsmen who sort of worked on it. Unfortunately, 3 of them are not there anymore. And the son of one of them is still working with us. Next, please. So this was the exhibition at India International Center. Next. Next. We had sort of had a design project. We had worked on a design project, had a designer, and we developed new designs in chicks. So these are some of them. And the craftsmen were very fine workers. Sundar Lal especially was excellent. He was so good. Next, please. So it became very difficult for us to be reproducing these somehow. Everybody wasn't able to do it. And then Sundar Lal passed away. So for a few years, the Chick project was in abeyance. initially we started taking orders, but it was impossible for an NGO to cope with orders, sort of commercial orders. But I'm really happy that since we started Kamla, we have now a sort of a large sort of export order with us to the UK. And Sanjay's son, Rahul, is working with us on these. Unfortunately, we're not able to find many people who are, we are willing to train and have workshops, but it's not been possible. But at least we have one person with whom we are working sort of very intensively, and he's doing orders, and we're continuing the chick work. We'd like to expand it, but only when we have more crafts.
Where did the chick project happen, Purnima? Like which part of the country, and what is the raw material to make the chick? Is it bamboo?
Yes, it is bamboo. And the bamboo, the fineness of the chick depends on how finely you split the bamboo. And also the, what's called the resha has to be taken out. That's a very important step, which people often skip. That's why when you see the chick, the resha comes out, that's not very nice. And when we did the thing, there was a center in Khichripur and Mangalpuri. These were the two main centers. Unfortunately, Mangalpuri has no more chick craftsmen. It's Khichripur in Delhi. And it's Khichripur, which is a center. And most of them do very simple chicks. Because what has happened now is that machine-made chicks are available, and they look sort of very uniform and very nice. But the beauty of the handmade chick and the designs makes it much more expensive. So it's not being made very much. So that's the situation.
These are not on the loom.
These are on the loom. It's a kind of a loom, Chick weaving is a special thing. They sort of weave it in a certain way, which tying the stone. It's simple, but it's, you have to be careful about the distances and the design, which is the difficult thing. To weave a straight thing is easy, but to do the design is difficult, and to do design evenly is even more difficult, which is what people don't want to do now. So the next, please. So the next thing is that, of course, everybody, I think, associates Delhi Craft Council with the Chamba Rumal. And I would like to make a qualification here. It may seem that it is me who's doing all these things, but it's a craft council, Delhi Craft Council. I have many colleagues who are deeply involved in all these projects. And Anjana Somani is presently in charge of the Chamba Rumal project. And but initially this project started under the leadership of Usha Bhagat. And she was really the driving force initially because things were very difficult. This was in the 1992, I think, when we went first to Chamba. And she had been earlier, and she realized that the craft had really gone down. And so we went on an initial trip. We went to then took photographs from all the museums. So our first attempt was to reproduce the old rumals, because the new rumals, they were not with the sort of correct design, or they were not with the correct threads, not with the correct material. So all that work was done, and so this is in the 1992, and we have continuously worked on this. So first we had a series of exhibitions of the reproduced, 20 rumals we reproduced, which were held all over the country. And after that, we did some design projects, design inputs. Next.
And this is from Himachal, right? Chamba in Himachal.
Yes. The embroidery is from Himachal, and it's a very special thing because it's a narrative embroidery. It tells stories, kind of, and very fine embroidery work. So in 2017, when we had our Golden Jubilee, this was the exhibition that we presented. It was called The Journey. And next. This was at the Habitat Center, and we presented the first rumal that we made, from the first to a development of 6 new rumals. Next, please. These are the ones that we made at that time with, improving the embroidery skill using naturally dyed silk threads. And this was designed by a designer called Swati Kalsi. She worked with our embroiderers, and of course, all the DCC team pulled in. Next. And the themes were based on the original narratives. This is called the Ras, but the presentation was new. So it was a very successful attempt. Next. Final, last year we had, it's this year actually, we also again had the Chamba Rumal. We presented it at the India Art Fair, and it was a very big success because work of this quality had never been seen, and the whole historical work background that we did, Delhi Craft Council did, led by Anjana, was really something which is quite different. Next. Yeah, this is a series called Mughal Artists, and here I must mention, I always joke with my colleagues that I have two boyfriends in my life. One is Alauddin, who's putting up this. He has worked with me throughout for all the exhibitions that we've done, and I don't think it's possible for me to do anything without his being involved. So he and his son are putting up this exhibition. His eye and his work is so precise and correct. He's one of those few people that you can leave everything to. So there he's one, and there's a framer who's Maheshji. So I must acknowledge them at this point. So he's putting up this Mughal artist set. Next. Yeah, this was a transparent, translucent kind of a thing in which we had introduced two crafts. One was painting. We especially got a person from Jaipur, and the painting was in gold and with the embroidery. Next. This is a little detail of how the embroidery was. Swati Kalsi was also involved in this project. She's a fantastic designer, especially with textiles and embroideries. Next. Of course, Sanji. So Sanji is a paper cut craft from Mathura. And initially, when we started, that was, we held an exhibition called Kagas. That was in 1992. And we designed small things like calendars, greeting cards. But for the first time, we asked them to use recycled paper and, new designs, not just the sort of gods, goddesses, things they were used to, or they used to do small motifs for bindis on plastic. So this was what we did for Sanji. Next. For the Golden Jubilee, we did a series of architectural Sanjis. These are architectural sort of outlines from the Mathura, So Intac had brought out under K.T. Ravindran a sort of volume of their restoration work in Mathura. So these drawings were there. So we, the artists, worked on these, and together with them, we produced this architectural series of ghats of Mathura. And actually the artisan recognized the ghats. So it was so interesting that they were actually doing something on which they knew in everyday life because they are from Mathura. Next. This is a Mohan, one of the Sanji artisans, very talented, very communicative, and they are, the good thing is that they know how to communicate what they are doing very well. So, Delhi Craft Council is not the only people who are working with them. They work with everybody, many designers, many are. So, but we are they are very special to us because we work with them for a long time. Next. Yeah. This is all part of the project we did for our Golden Jubilee in 2017.
I think also what is unusual here is because Sanji is normally with geometric design of floral motifs.
Yeah. So what we tried to do was, architecture. Actually, these motifs are from paintings from, the old buildings, old palaces. So we tried to do the whole thing with architecture. So this is a view of the exhibition. I think perhaps this is one of the few exhibitions where we haven't used bamboo as for display. Okay, now I just briefly want to talk about the bamboo stands. I had met, you mentioned that I worked on Venu Bharati, which was a book on bamboo published by the late, written by Venu Kaleji. So I had met him during one of our baskets exhibitions, and he was such a passionate person about bamboo that I realized, that, and ever since that, I'm sort of all exhibitions, we've always used bamboo. And we find that it's such a versatile material. It's so inexpensive, so easy, so light. So I just want to show you a few slides of how we use it. This is recently at a sari exhibition. Next. This is at, for our Golden Jubilee, we've used it, but you can see how, the triangular form is also very easy to do. It is very easy to mount the cloth. It's very easy to mount mats at the back. Next. This was, see, we've made a square, sort of square spaces in which we had an exhibition during our Golden Jubilee, which was called Crafting Design. So, there were designers that designed various items of furniture, lighting. So this was a basic module which we produced with the bamboo and with these handmade paper screens at the back. And these screens are made by an old, unfortunately, he's no longer alive, Umar Darasji. He has made these handmade screens in sort of very different, little different shades. And it's a wonderful, it looks so beautiful. Next. This is also, how you turn them around. You can turn them, they're so light, you can do, fantastic, numerous things with it. Next. Okay, so when I did—
Purnima, just one second before.
Yeah.
Do you want to also talk about, the association with Ranjan and people like that in bamboo? Because
well, actually, I don't have a very, I do know late Mr. Ranjan, definitely. And because of his interest in bamboo, to Venu Kaleji, I sort of, knew his work and, really sort of appreciated that. But personally, I didn't know him, Siddharth.
Okay. Yeah.
So after, after doing Venu Bharati, that was the first, my first attempt at doing a book. But before that, this is a book of the compositions of, Vasant Thakar, who was our guru, my guru. And these are his, so this is the cover page of that. So I was interested in doing designs. I used to do brochures. Next. This is Guru Kelu Charan Mahapatra's 75th year celebrations. It was called Pradakshina, so I did the brochure for that. Next. This is Venu Bharati, of course. Next. This motif here is done by Chandrabhushan, a Mithila artist. So everything in this I had got it specially done. Next. These drawings were specially made by an architect. This is a book of one of our members, Radhika Bharatram. It is an NGO she has called Karampriti. This is my latest effort. And this drawing has been made, specially commissioned and made by a young girl called Sangeeta Jogi. She got a Kamla Devi award from us. And we also exhibited her work in India Art Fair. Next. So these are a few pages in it, which were specially made. This is made by Ambika, who's a very fine Madhubani artist. Next. This is an applique made by Sirali from Jharkhand. And that is, of course, Kantha from Bihar. This is a book which Mr. Ashok Chatterjee had he had written the text and he put it together, and I did the design for it. So now we come to Kamla. It was in 2005 that we realized we at Delhi Craft Council realized that, cottage was no longer what it was, and it didn't serve the purpose of showing craft in its best way. And why was in our such a rich in our country which had such a rich heritage, why was there not a single outlet? So we had no experience in marketing and shops and outlets. But as it happened that the government had just made this new building, which at that time was called Rajiv Gandhi Handicrafts Bhavan on Baba Khadak Singh Marg. And they were letting out, they sent a thing for people to, whatever it's called, to bid for it or whatever. So we just put it in. There was Manju at that time, Manju Nirula and I, and we, and the government gave us a space. So it was a lovely space, actually. It is a lovely space. So that was in 2005. We had no idea, we had no money, so but we managed somehow. And I must say it has proved to be a very happy experience, because this is not only an outlet for selling, but it is also an interactive platform. It's a sort of place where we can communicate with artisans, where we can do a shared kind of discussion or change or design. And it's over the years, of course, the artisan is now very savvy and WhatsApp and everything, but still we find that it's so it's not just marketing it, but also selecting sort of traditional crafts, as well as some new designs, as well as showcasing good work that is being done in craft and design, together. So it is no use saying either traditional or contemporary. I think tradition also, again, I don't feel it's a static thing. Tradition is something in which it just keeps growing. I mean, it's like, of course, this has been said many times, but it is like a river. People contribute to it, and it goes on, and it changes, and it innovates, and it adapts itself to the circumstance. So that's how the craft is also. So I think Kamla, we're very happy that it's doing well. It's earned a good name. And Siddharth, show some slides. I've just put together a few slides. This is the kind of invitations we do. So you will notice all the interiors are mostly done with bamboo.
कष्ट बोल में निकाल देना कांच के बोल में
So I think I've come to the end of my presentation, and I do want to acknowledge that I haven't talked about just my personal journey. I have been so fortunate with all my colleagues in Delhi Craft Council and all over India. And I cannot forget the wonderful craftspeople with whom I've interacted. Some of them are no longer with us. Harkishan, Umar Darasti, many of them are no longer with us, but their contribution to the way of thinking about craft and all that is not something one can forget easily. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Purnima. Thank you for that really lovely presentation, because I think a lot of people know of you through the Craft Council of India and the work that you all do, and especially we've seen you, but we've not known the whole backstory. So that's been a really exciting thing to see. And, the travel and the journey from Kerala to Delhi, and from architecture through music and dance and craft, and how they've got interwoven in your thing. And I think I remember that story which you didn't say about when you and Lakshman got married, and then you drove down all the way to meet Kumarji.
Oh, yes. That was Mukul's wedding.
Oh,
we drove down for Mukul's wedding. Yes. It was amazing. It was such a long trip, and we were all packed into this old ambassador. Madhavi was there. I think Bhaiya was there. So it was a very amazing experience.
All the way to Dharwad, was it?
Yes, all the way to Devas. And in between, the car broke down in Guna in some place at night. Anyway, these were all interesting stories. If Madhi is there, I'm sure she remembers it.
Yeah, Baba.
No, it's wonderful and very, very, it's reminiscing many things of the last 50 years. And I knew Kamala Deviji very well. And I remember in Bombay where I grew up, and I knew her ex-husband, Mr. Chattopadhyay, was a great actor. Kamala Devi ji, we used to meet in the corridor, of course, attended many programs. She used to put a very bright red flower on her hair.
Yes,
She would
yes.
tell me, Jatin, when are you going to do my portrait?
Did you do it?
No, I had not done so. It's very unfortunate I've not done it. But she used to tell me, she was a lovely person, very gentle. No, there have been, like you mentioned about Goga Prakash and many other
Yes.
people. They were all very, very dear friends of ours. There were a large number of people in architecture, in painting, in dance, music, craft, and they were all interested in each other's work.
Yes, there were a lot of architects who did different things, and they were all Kumarji lovers. Many of the famous architects were Kumarji lovers
Oh, yeah,
or
yeah.
lovers of classical music,
Yes.
and of course, photographers,
Yes.
all of them. It's something that binds us, you know. I mean,
Yes.
I don't think this modern thing for silos and specialities, it's fine. But in the basics, I think all art is the same. The creativity and everything is the same, isn't it?
But there's a sea change. We're all isolated little islands now. But it's very good that you're bringing everybody together in your presentation. And but this is the beginning. Every presentation is a beginning to interact and reconnect again.
Yes, it has been a journey of memories for me. Hunting out all these old photographs, and unfortunately, I didn't have much time, and I'm sorry if the presentation hasn't been so, good. And there's a lot more that could be included,
Of course.
but never mind. It's a beginning, as you say.
That's right. It's right.
And also your house itself, like your house has always been a place where there were so many musicians, dancers,
Yes.
artists, craftspeople. I remember coming for his earlier exhibition to your house to take one of his works back, to show.
Yes. And a lot of musicians, of course, have sung at our house. Jasraj Kumarji, of course, Mukul, Ulhas Kashalkaji, one of his first programs. This was also, of course, because of Lakshman and my interaction with Vidyalaya, that we were able to be in touch with these musicians.
Yeah.
And Bapu, my father-in-law, also was deeply interested. He knew Ravi Shankarji, and from those times.
Oh, you was a
So,
great.
this was before my marriage. I've heard that they used to come to our house, and of course, Jatin used to come.
Right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Siddharth used to come.
Much later.
Okay.
No, I first interacted with you when we had a Golden Jubilee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you did the exhibition at IISc. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Shall we open it for questions?
Are there any questions? Everyone can put on their videos also, and please feel free to ask anything, to contribute in any way our conversation.
Has Laila Taibji joined? Laila and what's her name? The Menon.
ATK Menon is here, but she's here.
The designer. What's her name? Laila Taibji and the lady.
Baba is forgetting names.
Yeah.
All of us are.
I know, I'm too.
Anyway, but that's.
And if you would like to ask any questions, please feel free.
मैं पूछ सकती हूँ?
Zarur.
जरूर पूछिएगा.
पूर्णिमा जी, मैंने हमेशा आपको संगीत से जोड़कर देखा था.
जी
आज आपका विराट रूप दर्शन किया है
Oh,
मैंने.
please. ये तो मेरा भाग्य है सच्ची,
और
सचमुच में।
याद आ रहा है कि जो कमला देवी वाली एग्जीबिशन थी उसमें उनपे एक बहुत सुंदर किताब भी प्रकाशित हुई थी जो
जी,
मेरे
जी।
पास है।
हाँ हाँ,
का
वो
जिक्र
है,
नहीं किया,
क्योंकि हाँ
वो एग्जीबिशन तो आती है और चली जाती है पर वो सहेज ले
जी,
वाली चीज थी।
बिल्कुल सही कहा आपने। हमें
जी
ये हम सोच रहे थे कि ये ऐसी चीज होनी चाहिए जो, क्योंकि
जी
कमला देवी जी के बारे में आप देखो तो बहुत उनकी लिखी हुई किताब है, पर
जी
बहुत कम लिखा हुआ है लोगों ने,
जी।
जितना उन्होंने एक बड़ा काम किया है ना
नहीं,
क्राफ्ट में,
छोटे से
मतलब
संकलन में वो पुस्तक
हाँ,
ऐसी है कि आपके साथ जा सकती है। आप
और
लाइट
आप
बना रहे हैं, आप
और
ब्राइट
आपको मालूम होगा ये डिजाइन विनय जैन का है उस किताब का डिजाइन।
मैं आपको बताऊं, मैं आज तक सब विनय जी की ही समझती थी। आज पता चला कि वो जो परिक्रमा का कवर आपका था, ये आज मुझे पता चला। क्योंकि
बस छोटू सा प्रयास है।
क्यूरेशन अगर माधवी जी का है तो ऑटोमेटिकली हमने विनय जी को मान लिया था। हाँ, आपका म्यूट है
I can ask a question?
माधवी जी, आप अनम्यूट करके बोलें।
नहीं, मैं कह रही हूँ, मैं विनय जी से पहले से ही पूर्णिमा के साथ हम लोग बहुत काम करते थे। मेरा जो पहला ओडिसी डांस 1982 में कमानी में था, गुरुजी थे तब। हम पूर्णिमा जी ने वो पट्टचित्र वो पाम लीफ मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट्स का कवर बनाया था, याद है पूर्णिमा?
बिल्कुल याद है, पर वो मिलता कहाँ है, वो है ही नहीं, मतलब so sad we didn't keep it, you know, it's so
We never
sad.
kept anything,
We
you know,
never kept,
preserved.
never realized.
कुछ होता ही नहीं था।
Yeah. But imagine I've kept that photo, that Khajuraho dance festival.
Yeah,
It was the first Khajuraho festival dance in which
79.
you came out from the temple itself.
Yes.
They never no longer allow it now, but you
Yeah.
came from the temple on that thing. I remember very well, and we were very close.
And
the
Guruji,
audience.
yeah. Guruji and Satyashil was singing. From Guruji was playing and Satyashil also
Satish
sang.
was singing, yes. Wonderful
Yeah.
memories, yeah.
I'm so
Muksha,
sorry
you
for
wanted to
that.
ask? Yeah.
Yes, good evening, ma'am. It's such a privilege. And I'm sorry I joined a little late. I was a bit busy, unfortunately. But from whatever I've heard, I just wanted to know, from your expertise, how do you feel the future of craft is going to now how do you feel it's going to progress? Because we're seeing a renewed interest in the artisans and in craft overall. So how do you feel the perspective has been changed over the many years that you have observed it?
You know, there's been a lot of change in the way craft was and in the way it was practiced and the way it's being done now. But I don't think we should feel very bad about it, or we should think of it in a negative way. I think many positive things are there. And if one group, for instance, leaves, you find that another group may move in to learn and to practice that craft. But basically, what we must all recognize is that craft it's not just for aesthetics, or it's actually, of course, it's like Kamla Devi used to say, it's a creative expression for the common man, but basically it's livelihoods. I mean, it's somebody's livelihood. That's very important. So we should all realize that. And I think because of that, and because of the numbers involved, sometimes you know, nowadays especially, there's this feeling that people are leaving craft, the skill is no longer there. Yes, of course there are, but then that's how it has been over centuries. I mean, many things we've lost, but many things we've gained also. We've gained through, say, new technologies, but there is, of course, technology is a big danger, which, of course, now, as you know, is digitalization, it's power looms and all that. So, but yet on the whole, I mean, I'm extremely positive about how things are happening. And yes, let's hope in a positive way that things will at least continue for our country, because it's important.
Absolutely.
Something's
Thank you so
happened
much.
somewhere. Okay, you went off somewhere. Yeah. So don't.
Not at
I
all,
mean,
ma'am.
I know you're the next generation, but you must take it over and feel responsible and respond to it. There is no crisis that you can't respond to in a positive way, and you know.
Absolutely.
Do
Absolutely.
things. So,
I
all
think
the
even
best.
referring to,
Sorry?
oh, thank you so much. I was also going to refer to how recently Rahul Mishra included his own artisans in the design of the dresses.
Yes.
So I think, I mean, I was also speaking to the fact that while we are all moving towards a modern
Yes.
practice, we're also holding fast to the fact that there is so much value that can
Yes,
be
and yes, and designers are now acknowledging the work of people who artisans who work for them. So that is a very positive thing. And yeah, you're right, absolutely.
Anyone else would like to ask?
I do have a question.
मैं एक बात पूछना चाहती हूँ, आजकल आप क्या कर रही हैं? आप खाली बैठने वालों में से तो है नहीं।
नहीं, मैं एक्चुअली क्राफ्ट काउंसिल में मैं इन्वॉल्व हूँ और हमारे बहुत अच्छे नए we have very new members, so they're very active. So we have to interact with them and slowly they're learning the things from us. So एक तो वो है। अभी हमारे
जुड़ने का क्या तरीका है?
क्या जी?
आपकी आर्ट्स काउंसिल से जुड़ने का क्या तरीका? आज मैंने पहली बार देखा सारा काम। अगर मैं सब देखकर जुड़ना चाहूँ तो कोई उपाय है?
तो आप हमें ईमेल करिएगा और एक प्रोसेस है, हमारी एक कमेटी है, मेंबरशिप कमेटी है, वो आपसे मिलेंगे, आपका मतलब आपसे बातचीत करेंगे और जैसे ही वो एसेस कर लेंगे तो मेंबरशिप मतलब
नहीं, मेरा और कोई योगदान नहीं, मैं केवल कला प्रेमी हूँ।
आपको उसके लिए तो हम आपको हर एक उसके लिए एग्जीबिशन में इनवाइट करेंगे, मैं आपको मेलिंग लिस्ट में डाल देती हूँ।
नहीं, अभी तक आपके घर में बड़े बड़े लोगों के हमने कार्यक्रम सुने हैं, लेकिन इन तरह के एग्जीबिशन से मैं
नहीं, मैं आपको इनविटेशन जरूर भेजूंगी मंजरी जी।
बहुत धन्यवाद, बहुत धन्यवाद।
अभी इनका एक एग्जीबिशन होने वाला है यूटेंसिल्स के ऊपर, पात्रम
टेबल बैग के ऊपर। हाँ, नेक्स्ट वीक जस्ट। यस
जो होता है वो तो फिर भी हम लोग देख लेते हैं।
नहीं, मैं वो भेजूंगी आपको, अभी भेजूंगी।
थैंक यू
आदित्य
जी, बहुत शुक्रिया आपका।
नहीं बिल्कुल,
आप उनके अंदर से निकाल के ले आए, बहुत बनाए, बड़ी मितभाषी जीव हैं। इतने दिनों तक इनके सानिध्य में रही हूँ और बिल्कुल अंदाज नहीं था।
जी, छुपे रुस्तम है ये।
बिल्कुल, तो आपने बहुत बड़ा काम।
आदित्य आप?
Yeah, hi. So I've recently actually been getting very interested in handicraft, and the reason I was getting interested is because, to quote how you answered the previous question from Moksha, it's people's livelihood and it's almost so important. It's very important to India and as a nation. And you also mentioned that, things are changing with digitalization and digital, spaces coming in. I did want to ask, as the craft counselor, has it been explored leveraging some of these tools, to sort of to help artisans and craftsmen to take that next step to, reach the market with these tools?
Aditya,
Yes.
we find that we really don't have to do much. They are so good at it. I mean, they're just sort of learning for themselves. But yes, if there is an occasion, like when we have an exhibition, special exhibition, there are some young members, we ourselves are not qualified to do it, but some young members do take small, sort of, what is it called, workshops to describe to them, for instance, if they're taking photographs, how should they take it, the background and everything. So they do explain to them and we try. But, we are a very small organization and we are really hard pressed. And the artisan I find they're quite smart. And because it's a question of their livelihood. So they're very on the ball, particularly some of them. So yes, we do help them in certain ways. But it's not a very sort of big thing. And there are actually, I forgot to mention, I have actually focused on a few things like design and everything. But there are many other pressing questions. And for instance, Craft Council of India is now looking at, for years we've been trying to get funds. It's a very large project to do a census of, we don't even yet have a proper census of artisans in our country. So Mr. Ashok Chatterjee is heading this project, Geeta Ram, Manjari Nirula, all these people are, we are now going to do, we've got our own funds, private funds. So there are many other pressing questions like this also, which it was not possible for me to project in such a short while. But so if young people like you want to be involved, please get in touch with us. We are happy to, have you.
Perfect. I will reach out to you
Yeah. It will be, we have a website, our details are there.
Okay,
Email
perfect.
and-
The website, apologies for a silly question, but could the website link be shared? Is it the
I think
Crafts
Siddharth, you
Council?
better do it, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think if you just look up Delhi Crafts Council
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the website. Yeah,
and the
I
Craft
found that.
Council of India, I think the
I
two
found
things,
that.
and all the numbers and everything is there, the websites and the contact details. And there, I think Delhi Craft Council's office is out of Shapurjat. I
Yeah.
sound like a Delhi Craft Council spokesperson.
Good for you.
Baba.
Thank you so much.
Purnima,
Yeah.
Purnima,
Yes.
now, I would like to request that if the Craft Council suggest to various art and architecture colleges in the country to have a craft also as a part of the syllabus, which they don't have. And
Yes.
few of them don't even have, the architecture colleges do not have art as a subject. Some of them, but not all.
Yeah.
NID and NIFT, Baba, have a very good craft
Yeah.
documentation.
Very good. Yes.
Really good one. And I think
Saying,
at NID, we had Aditi Ranjan
yeah, no, I know.
heading it for a very long time. The pity is that they didn't publish or make it accessible to people.
It's not
Craft.
accessible.
And the
Actually, that's
Institute
a
of
problem.
Craft and Design came up with Ranjan being
Yeah.
in the helm of it when we were students.
But what I'm requesting and suggesting that quite often the left hand doesn't know the right hand. All art and architecture colleges in the country, blindly, if the Craft Council of India sends a little note, will you consider putting in your syllabus Craft of India?
It's important, yes. At Craft Council, what we have done is that, during the summer months, we do take it to schools, Delhi schools.
Yeah.
Some of them, we do workshops. One of our newer members is doing this workshop. But what we find is that we have to fit in periods when they are not sort of occupied heavily academic syllabus and all that. So they give us some special timings when there's a holiday or something. But we do, yes, we have started in Delhi. We have started. And like for Handloom Day, we had a very good program conducted by Malvika, one of our younger members. She took it to school and then we introduced them to all the weaves. We showed them actual. It was a very successful program. So we are thinking, but we need many members to be able to do this. We hope more will join and we'll be able to do it. Yes, it's a very good suggestion. People don't know anything about either craft or textiles, new students. It's just the interest which gets them there. Otherwise, basically, generally, nobody knows much about. But what to talk of craft? They don't know anything about our culture also. They don't know anything about music. They don't know anything about art. They don't know anything about... Anyway, let's hope the situation will change.
In School of Planning and Architecture, when Jhabala was there, while you were a student, we all taught art there.
Yes, you were there. You were there.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it should be perpetuated in every art and architecture college.
Yes, we should.
Which Art Council cannot possibly reach out to everybody.
Yes.
Note to the
Yes.
Ministry of Education as well as to the art and architecture colleges, because I studied at JJ School of Art, where art, architecture, craft, sculpture in one campus.
Yes.
It's anywhere. So kindly consider.
Lara Chandra, you had a question. Can you unmute yourself?
Hi, I'm Lara Chandra. I've spent about 2 decades in the field of social development, especially child rights, housing, and sanitation. I'm particularly personally interested in textile and crafts, and love to speak to artisans and weavers. And living in Delhi, I think have the opportunity of interacting to many of them. Thank you for your talk today. I mean, really inspired. I also happened to hear Geeta Ram, Leila Taibji, and speak about what you're doing at the policy level and the census that you spoke about, and something that I've been, particularly concerned. There's so many women artisans and craftsmen in India, and maybe your census leads to many more schemes and policies for women-centric schemes. My concern particularly is about housing, and because so much of this work is home-based. And having spent 10 years in the housing sector in India, I just feel this is such a huge gap and will enable so many women to work better and be more empowered towards this livelihood. I'd definitely like to write to you, and if there's something that I can do, we'll be happy to take it forward. But I feel that Crafts Council has such a big voice in this area, and glad to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Lara, and do write to us. And yes, we hope that many findings will come out from the census. Firstly, when we do the census, the findings will give us a voice. It will give us a voice, and it will give us perhaps a way forward. Because this is something. This sector doesn't get heard, obviously, because people are not aware of the size, and because of its complexity and the nature of it, there is no one voice. So with the census, we hope that we will be able to present a few findings which will help us to pressurize or to drive policies in future for the benefit of craftspeople, whether it's women or men. And yes, actually we have done a small survey earlier at the last economic survey, 6th economic survey. We were able to include crafts as one of, this is all because of the team at CCI, Geeta Ram, Mr. Ashok Chatterjee, Geeta Ram, Manju, and I have helped in a very small way. So what we found was that women are often not counted because their work is beneath, below, behind, So there was a special effort, and we hope in the new survey and survey that we will be undertaking, this will be one of the key things that we will look at. It's just still in the process of being formulated. Thank you. So we hope it will help, and I'm sure it will. We had a hard time pushing for the funds, because it's not a small project, but a lot of our members work very hard, and we've just got it through.
Purnima?
Yes?
Another thing I would like to know, whether Craft Council is a permanent member of the Craft Museum, National Craft Museum.
No, I don't think so.
And that should be. We should write to the ministry that Craft Council of India, the oldest organization of craft, should be a permanent member of the Craft Museum.
Jatin, the situation is different now. You see, earlier we were part of sort of the national committee for selecting master crafts, and all these, everybody has been removed. It's now only people who are, of a certain, we are not now included in those kind of forums at all. But we find that being independent gives us a definite, a different status and, independence to do things.
Remain independent. But only my request is a letter should go that there should be a representative of the Craft Council in the Craft Museum. That's all.
What would, yeah, sure, we can do it. It's not that we can't do it, but the situation.
The current dispensations are different.
Yeah. It's up to them, but we can do it. It's not,
Otherwise, it will not happen. We have to connect. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. But consider the suggestions.
We had Ashok Chatterjee also before. I think he spoke a lot about the work, and I think the early days of Craft Council of India and I think the kind of associations with all the kind of luminaries like Kamala Devi, Pupulji, Ayla Basu.
Yes.
So there was a very interesting conversation, and I think others, if they are interested, they can see it on the YouTube.
Yes.
In his talk, and I think the two other I think conversations that are available online is also by Jasleen Dhamija and by Laila Taibji.
Oh, yes.
they were
That's
also very-
really nice
Yeah.
about Jasleen. Yeah.
Yeah, Jasleen sadly is not with us, but she gifted a whole library of slides to JDCA and all her articles. So we've been kind of going through it and making sense of it and linking it to some of the things in the collection like Phulkari or Saichi and
Yes.
Sujini and her kind of research on it. So that's also very exciting. And hopefully when we have the JDCA up and running next year in the textile and Pankha basket gallery, there'll be, I think, a lot of her kind of research will also come out. So yeah.
Can we contribute saris?
Yes, please do.
A lot of our members are very...
She contributed 10 beautiful textiles, some from Iran, some from Africa, and some from India. So that was something really quite special for us.
Okay.
And some of her books
Yes,
also.
the Iran ones must be really special. Yeah.
So,
Okay,
so,
great.
Anyone else who would like to ask anything?
Anita Saran has raised her hand.
Yes.
If you'd like
Anita
to
Saran?
unmute and ask the question, please. Anita Saran, you've raised.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, but not visible.
I just wanted to say, why can't we start this interest in craft in very young children? In nursery school and kindergarten, they can be taught block printing. And later on, like even doing this, what is it called? Decoration, floral decoration, alpana with powder.
Yes.
Why do we depend only on the families to teach them? All this could be done from school level as an extracurricular activity. Pottery, basket making. Children think it's fun. And even if they don't become good at it, at least they develop an interest. Country like Japan does that.
Yes,
And
yes.
when you
Anita,
study-
we have been having these workshops, and some of the classes have young children. And they enjoy very much things like pottery and young children as in 5, 6 years old.
Every
Not
school,
younger.
every college could do it. Why? Why should
Yes,
there be only
yes.
workshops?
I think anything to do with hands and to mess around or to even do something, it's very good for the mind.
Then you
In
see
fact,
these-
the reason why actually from architecture my focus shifted to craft was that I felt in the design itself, there's so much intellectualization. We are so much based in theory that we really, when you don't experience it, that skill and the process of making and the creativity, if you're just thinking about it with the design with your mind, you don't have an idea of the material, you don't have, so there are many things that you can learn from people who are actually working with hands. So it's very important to be working with hands in any case. So for children to be doing that, I think it's very necessary.
If you do it yourself, you appreciate it more when you see it done by someone good at it. You understand what went into it, rather than just going to a museum or an exhibition and just seeing these things.
Can I ask a question, Purnima
Yes,
Di?
please.
Purnima Di,
hi,
I-
Shweta. Please
even
ask.
yes, Purnima Di, I know Purnima Di from the time I became a member of Crafts Council of Telangana. So yes, we do. Didi, can I just answer Anita's question?
Yes.
We do have craft in school from a very early age, and we are doing it in the schools in Hyderabad over here. And we are teaching them the pottery. The master craftsman is coming. And we also teach them material painting and also embroidery to the girls. And you'll be surprised that the boys who cannot hear or speak, they are the multi-challenged children which are doing pottery and cherial painting in a very, very excellent way. And we are really very happy that we've been able to achieve this in a short span of time. So yes, we are open to any suggestions, as Didi knows, Purnima Di, and need all your help for Crafts Council of Telangana as well. So
Anytime.
open for suggestions.
So, but
Thank
this
you.
is wonderful to hear that you've been doing this. And Anita, there you have Telangana, they're doing it.
Yes. And just now, Sadhu Paswani school has also approached us to have the curriculum as a subject of craft in their school. So there it's going to happen soon in one of the Meridian schools and the Sadhu Vaswani school as well, because they want to have it as a craft class. It has to be in the curriculum and exams will be taken care of also. Yes.
Wonderful. Excellent. Well done, Hemlata.
Thank you.
Lovely, lovely. What I was lastly, to round up the whole thing, I'd like to suggest, maybe you already have, I don't know. Do you have a monthly bulletin of Crafts Council?
Yes, Craft Council of India has
Monthly bulletin.
monthly or a bi-monthly or a something
I
like
think-
that. Yes. And but they do have something now on WhatsApp also, which is monthly, I think. I'm sorry, I'm not able to reply with greater clarity, but we do have a regular newsletter, CCI newsletter, in which all the activities of the regional councils are reflected. I just don't know, I just don't remember now whether it's monthly or bi-monthly, but it is there, it's at regular intervals.
Lovely.
And they also have something on WhatsApp which comes every month at least, giving information about different crafts, the way they do it, videos, some written material, very informative.
Sorry, I don't get any information from the Craft Council. Sorry.
Send you our numbers
Yeah.
to add. Is there a way to add emails? Because there's so much of WhatsApp. Is there a way to one can just give one's email to get more information? What the craft?
Yes. You just have to write. We have an email. Just email us about what it is that you need, and then we will look at it. Definitely.
Lovely.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Definitely.
Thank you. All the best.
Any questions?
Very kind. Very kind.
Thank
So,
you.
Siddharth,
Yeah. So I think
Any
if there are
more
no more questions, then we could probably wrap up. We have a few more speakers over the next few months. We have Ganesh Sevaswamy, who will be in conversation with Nandita. Yeah. On
What-
Ravi Verma.
I think it's going to be a talk, but
Yeah.
an illustrated talk on Raja Ravi Verma. He's a scholar and he's written several books now, which are coming out in the coming months. And he's got the chromolithographs of Raja Ravi Verma. So yes, he's one of them. And Siddharth, who else
And
is?
we will have Rajiv Sethi a bit later and Manu Parekh also later in the year. And if anyone wants to see any or hear to any of the previous talks, you can just find the YouTube channel of JD Center of Art. And this conversation also, I think, Purnima, your lecture will also be online on the YouTube straight away. So please feel free to share it, and please join on every second Saturday of every month to attend our talks. And a very important but a different announcement is on 8th of November to the 7th of January will be Jatin Das's retrospective at National Gallery of Modern Art. So 60 years of his work.
Yes.
It's lovely to have you all. Please do come and see. And naturally, it's all open to public.
And
Thank
spread
you.
the word.
Thank you.
Yeah. Every
Thank you.
speaker also
Thank
brings
you, everybody.
people. With every speaker, we get new people joining the MTA, the Meet the Artist program. But we are hoping that those, the participants will also join and listen to the other talks, and that's how the tribe will slowly increase.
Yes,
so please
surely.
keep spreading the word. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.